Well, folks, welcome to another Shop Talk. And gee, I almost feel like I'm at home. I'm just a little ways away over here in the God's country in Northland. We're over in Avondale, and we are here with somebody that I think a lot of people have really been curious as to your well-being, as well as how the race car is besides. But we're going to be talking with Vic Austin tonight, and we're going to go back and talk a little bit first about Vic's career and how he got started. And Vic, I understand you got mixed up with Pat and Dennis Gann.
Yeah, them guys, we watched them since we was kids down in Riverside days. And they just really, I seen all the trophies, and man, it's all they talked about. And I thought, man, I want to try that one of these days, because I watched them when I was a kid. And I thought, man, they said, well, let's build one. I was like, let's get her done. And we did down at their shop. Man, we sat there all winter long. Man, just built a car, welded, cut it, and these guys were old school, but I mean, they got the car where it was dialed in good enough where we still need some help, because that's when Larry Casser was running up there, so he was lucky to even, make the show up there, because there's always 40 street stocks up there, so when we made the show, we was happy. But yeah, them guys is the one that really got me turned into it, and, him, John Green, Pat Gans, and Dennis Gans, just a lot of fun, and we've done it since. Just hooked on it.
I know 2002, I think, is when you actually first got this car out on the track. And, of course, that was in that Superstock class up at I-35.
Right.
Of course, I never know whether to call it I-35 or Winston.
Yeah.
But I'm going
Larry
with
Castor,
I-35.
Yeah.
Okay. But, man, that had to have been quite a class, because I think you and I were talking on the phone, and I've talked to some other guys that ran in. It was kind of a run what you brung class.
It was. At first, it turned out, the two barrels and cast iron intakes with exhaust manifolds. Everybody's looking for the Corvette manifolds, and then next thing you know, it started opening up the four barrels. Then it went to headers, and then it was cubic inch, and then it was roller motors, and it was run what you brung. Just maybe, I would say probably a year, a little later than a year than that, than we was running major horsepower.
Yeah.
At that time. So
it sounded like it was a lot of fun.
It was, man. It was a blast. If they still had it today, we'd probably still be doing it.
Yeah. Okay, in 2004, you move on and decide to get into the Grand National up at I-35. And I think you do run that 1 year.
Yeah.
And it's the story that I think is interesting about the Grand Nationals is that you lose the points race by a little bit of lead.
Yeah, matter of fact, it was the last race of the season, and we would have had it won by 7 points, I believe. And I was going under the white flag, leading the race. I would have won it by 7 points, I believe, and got into a lap car and knocked my piece of lead off. And they throw a yellow, and I'm like, well, who did that? And then they're pointing at me to go to the back, and I made it back up to 7th, but I didn't make it. But Kevin Burns ended up taking that away from me. But he fought just as hard as I did.
Yeah.
So it couldn't have went to a better guy than that. But yeah, it was a bad deal. But.
Yeah. It is funny so many times how in racing it comes down to the little things. A lot of times it's not the speed and everything else that everybody thinks it is. It comes down to something small like that.
Right. And it was actually, them cars, they're Grand Nationals today, but at that time they called them Chargers, which you can run a UMP tire or an 82.8, which everybody loved them things, and we can run alcohol 4 barrels. There was actually same thing as a Superstock. It was a Grand National run what you brung.
I'll be darned.
Type, and it's
there again. Must have been fun.
It was a lot of fun.
A lot of
horsepower.
Fun. Yeah. 2006. We're going to move on. You get into actually started out as ULMA late model, but then for quarter season or something like that, and then eventually turns into full late model.
Yeah, they went to the full blown late model, because we weren't really getting the car count we was looking for, and a lot of guys from Iowa wanted to come down and run. And they all had like 18-degree motors, all aluminum drive shafts, so they had full blown. So they kind of told us that, what we thought about it, and we said, yeah, that'd be great if, we do the same thing. And they came down and showed us around the track. Them boys are serious out
there. Once again, though, it is a pretty successful class for you to run in, and you win 1 points championship, and I think 2006 or 7, something like that. 12 or 14 feature wins.
We had a lot. Yeah, that was one of our best years there.
Mike French is involved in that.
Yes, Jeff.
Jeff French.
Jeff French, #1 from Iowa. He's that dude. I just looked up to him, and I can't believe he really helped me out, but he did. And he just seen we was struggling with the car. It was a GRT car, and that's what he ran for years. And man, he just told me a few things to do, and my gosh, it was on after that.
Yeah, but I know this kind of figures into, we're going to be talking about modifieds here in a little bit.
Sure.
But this figures into that too, how good it is to have somebody that's got that knowledge.
It is, man, and usually them people don't, share that information with you. But he was kind of an older dude. Sorry about that. Yep. I think he felt sorry for me. He knew I could get the car that I can drive it. I just couldn't get the right setup for the condition of the tracks, getting the timing set on it. But once he helped me out, man, it was on fire then.
Yeah.
Then it was like, man, top 5, won a lot, and got the championship that year.
I was going to say, I remember some of those years I was going up there, and I knew late models, it was, man, you got to beat Vic Austin.
Yeah, and man, that's awesome that people thought of it that way. But man, I thought we had a real good car, and what really made it more unique than anything is we had an all-girl pit crew. My 2 daughters and my wife, Sheila Austin and Kristen and Marissa. And man, that was kind of awesome.
Yeah, they talk about that power of a woman behind a man.
Yeah. That's good branding points. I like that.
Okay, that kind of gets us up to 2009. And you decide that you're going to start running A-mods, and of course, of all places you pick to do it, you pick Lakeside.
My Lord.
Because man, competition, experience that goes on out there is just crazy. But Vic, why'd you get into A-mods?
Well, I just never ran one. I really never really thought about it because man, we ran them IMCA tires, and man, they're just nobody likes them. But the car's got so much horsepower and no tire. And I just thought, everybody kept, try it. And I went, okay, I never tried one. But why I thought to go to Lakeside, but I never ran a big track ever before. We always, short tracked it on with all our cars. And then, man, just going out to Lakeside and that big a track and that car is so much different to me. It's like, wow, like you got to relearn to drive all over again.
Yeah.
It's a complete new experience.
Before I forget it, and once again, you're running GRT, and who's building the motors?
It's Randy Odell. Motorsports, he's built my motors for years. He's awesome engine builder. I mean, anytime anything happens, he's right there on it.
Yeah.
I mean, anytime I need help on it, bam, he's right there.
Yeah.
Awesome engine builder.
Okay.
Couldn't ask for anybody better.
That sort of brings us up to the present. We're getting short on time like we always do.
We're yakking about racing.
But that brings us up to a little thing that happened here about 2 weeks ago, and I'd like to say, we were joking earlier, to get ready for this interview, I was watching the TV show that has all the crashes and everything on it. And, but I want to talk a little bit about the crash that you had there a couple of weeks ago, and I know you've got some sensitive areas we can't get into, so we'll try and keep it in between the lines. So
all right,
Tell us a little bit about that accident, and I know you were telling me that the car was handling probably as good as it had ever handled. It was as fast as it had ever been, but take us through starting in turn 1 and how that went.
Okay, yeah. The track was tacky, and the car, we tried a new setup on it, and the car just ain't never, handled that good. I mean, I know it's tacky track, it's horsepower track, but when you ain't got a car right, and it still won't hook up when it's tacky. But when you got one that's hooked up as good as that car was that night, I felt real confident, and I ran it as hard as I could, and I was real happy with the car. But I just, all I remember was the car was coming good. I went in 1 and 2 and shot down to the bottom and just floated out. And I remember passing 3 or 4 cars and could turn in turn 3, and that was about all I remembered. It was quite the flight. I've never took a ride like that ever in my life. Hopefully I'd never have to again. But, the fire crew and everybody out there, the ambulance lady, I don't know her name, but she's awesome. I mean, them guys out there, man, they was right on it, took care of everything. It was, it rung my bell. Yeah. It got my attention.
I know you were saying that while you were in the air, and I think I don't know if anybody's actually got a actual count. In fact, if anybody has video of it, Vic wants to see it.
Yeah,
if you can,
we want to see how many turns there is.
Rotations. From the reports, we'll put it that way. There were, I believe, 7 rotations.
That's what I've been told. It was hard to count the ones in the air, but I definitely counted the ones on the bottom when we hit the ground. I did count that. It felt like 4. And then I came back around. I was looking up turn 3, make sure everybody was stopped, and I told the official, I go, man, it's awful foggy out here. And they go, no, it ain't, Vic. Okay.